you won't lead my army, then you must die.
Malebolgia, the ruler of the 8th sphere of hell, explained. Who do you really think offered Al Simmons a Faustian deal? Of course the deal came with conditions, and we are all quite aware of how Spawn was threatened throughout his undead life. So if there really happens to be the true face of evil behind Spawn's story, it would only be fair to give this crown to the one and only Malebolgia. For those of you who had been considering the Violator as Spawn's archnemesis all this while, we sincerely urge you to think again and confer the title on the devil himself. After all, let's not forget, it was Malebolgia who literally caused Al Simmons to be Spawn in the first place.
What is your answer? Yes! Yes, I will lead your army!
Created by Todd McFarlane, just like the titular hero, Malebolgia, at times referred to as the Malebolgia, was introduced in the first issue of Spawn back in May 1992. Now, it is a possibility that one might just wonder, how did a name like Malebolgia come up? A little bit of digging and we get to know that the name has been taken from the term in Dante's Inferno used to describe Malebolge, the evil ditches in the 8th circle of hell. The fictional supervillain here not only appears as the main antagonist, but also as the ruler of the 8th sphere of hell. Malebolge has been around for more than 70,000 years and is the one to have created not just Spawn, but all the other Hellspawns for that matter, just so as to assemble an army that is capable of destroying heaven. Therefore, in today's video, we will be talking about Malebolgia, often hailed as the actual Grandmaster of Hell, and explore in detail the origins of this terrifyingly powerful supervillain from the Spawn universe. Are you ready? Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
If you lead my army, you can see wonder again.
Who is Malebolgia? The character of Malebolgia was the creation of the preceding leader of the 8th sphere of hell called Leviathan. It goes without saying that Malebolgia turned out to be too powerful, eventually killing his creator and taking over the 8th sphere as the new ruler. In fact, he reigned unchallenged for more than 70,000 years and was majorly feared and held in the highest regard by the rulers of the other spheres of hell. Often perceived as an equal to Satan, it was Malebolgia who was accountable for the creation of Spawn. His position in Hell's hierarchy gave him infinite powers, and it was his proficiency in necroplasm which gave him the exclusive power to create Hellspawn. No wonder he ended up forming an entire army, one that was not only larger, but also pretty much stronger than anything heaven could handle. While it is true that he is the one that gave Spawn his powers, one just cannot disregard the fact that it was also Malebolgia who repetitively kept giving Spawn a reminder of how he will become a perpetual servant of hell once he runs out of his powers. Having said all of that, he intentionally shrouded the memories of Spawn with the sole purpose of corrupting him and eventually making him the killing machine. Malebolgia even set the Violator to Earth as the demonic guardian to Spawn. Malebolgia, alternate versions. So there was a time when Malebolgia was reborn during the Mutations mythos. Apparently, he had eaten the remaining Plebeic brothers and in the process absorbed their bodies along with their powers into his very body, thus creating his new self. Of course, he had revenge on his mind. Therefore, he was determined to bring back the former body of Spawn just so that he could torment him further with the sole fact that he was dead. After Spawn had killed the reanimated corpse, Malebolgia found his way towards Billy Kincaid in the very pits of hell. You should not be surprised when we tell you that post-finding Kincaid, Malebolgia integrated some kind of a special tube through his head, one that connected him to a small demon, altering his body in the process. No wonder post his return back to Earth, Kincaid literally went on a killing splurge. All of this just to get the attention of Spawn. The demon separated himself and managed to run off to alert Malebolgia after the battle ended. On the other hand, an infuriated Spawn ended up transmuting himself into a full-fledged demon as a result of his body and suit reacting. No points for guessing that a transformed Spawn entered Hell to slay Malebolgia, but ended up being incapacitated by Malebolgia's new form and coerced to act as his pet. But unbeknownst to Malebolgia, Spawn was actually planning his escape. That's why the story ended with Spawn saying, "You're a fool, Malebolgia. You may believe you've won, but I have a plan of my own. Your days are numbered, your rain will fall, I will be free.
Enough! Spawn must choose to murder, win, and release the
Malebolge's supernatural powers. When it is the devil that we are talking about, there are no second thoughts about him being supremely powerful. We all know how Malebolge gave Simmons his powers after he became a Hellspawn. But do you realize that he is a supervillain, and in simple words, very much capable of taking away the powers at his will? Well, in this case, at his pleasure, of course. His powers include telepathy, which he could read the minds of his victims just to see how they tick. Of course, there is mind control, psychokinesis, shapeshifting, regeneration, and superhuman strength. Oh, and he is very strong. From knocking Spawn around in battle to bragging unlimited power, especially in the 8th sphere of hell, you know you cannot take Malebolge lightly. When it comes to his necro-energies, he could raise the dead and also have the power to morph and influence illusions. Let's not forget that he is also very deceptive. After all, he did manage to fool Simmons into serving him for his own cause.
Never! Bring me Spawn's head!
Appearances. Movie. If you remember Mark A.Z. Deepe's superhero flick titled Spawn, then you have every reason to remember Malebolge, who made an appearance as the main antagonist in the 1997 live-action movie. Just like his comic counterpart, he is introduced as the ruler of hell. He is intelligent, he is diabolical, and is seen as someone who enjoys deceiving others into doing his work and simply have them terminated if they are not of any use to him. One who even dares to think of betraying him does not really stand a chance. In the movie, he is first seen in a flashback offering Spawn a deal. He allows him to see his beloved wife Wanda in exchange for him leading his army of hell. Just to see that he ends up keeping his side of the bargain, Malebolge even sends Violator as his demonic guardian. He is voiced by Frank Welker in the movie. TV series. In spite of his significant role and recurrent appearances in the comic book, it is pretty ironic that Malebolge does not appear in the Spawn television series. Of course, his name is mentioned, and there is no denying that his influence is apparent. However, one only gets to catch a glimpse of his face and den in the 4th episode. Malebolge, as the unseen, overarching antagonist, appears to be exceedingly devious. He ends up tricking Spawn not once, but twice. Remember how Malebolge gave him a chance to see his wife, along with how he later tricked Spawn into having a child with his wife? Well, he wanted Spawn to do all of this in the first place to execute his own sinister agendas. Pretty wicked, right? Now that's some villain to define Spawn more than anyone else. Video games. Voiced by David Sobolov, Malebolge made an appearance in a couple of Spawn video games. He is literally the secondary antagonist in the game Spawn Armageddon. In Spawn and the Demon's Hand, he plays the role of a boss. Apart from these, the character Malebolge has also made an appearance in the SNES game of the same name as the main antagonist, as well as the Game Boy game Spawn and Spawn the Eternal. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
You will never escape me.